Hello there fellow modellers, Steve here, and that's it. And tonight's video will be a roundup of all the kits that I've got on the go, group builds, sideline kits, acquisitions, and just a bit about the model show that I went to last Sunday. So we'll start off with the kits, right? I'll just pick me film up. And the first one I've got finished is a little sideline kit that I had, which was it was a Youngers, I think it was a GU or an EF. It was a a 128, right, and it's one of them never got off the drawing board designs, one of the many German designs that were planned and would have been a real pain in the arse to the Allied side if they never flew and went into production. I don't know which firm made this kit, but it was a firm from Germany. And as you can see, it's just a small interceptor type aircraft. It's got a ramjet, I think it was a ramjet, or a jet engine, a turbojet of some description. One pilot, I think it was armed with 4 20mm cannons in the nose. And it was a pretty basic design, as you can see by the underside of it. Tricycle undercarriage. And it was done, oh god, this kind of right now. All the colours I did them with my airbrush, and I think it's worked out pretty well. I'll zoom in a bit. The light mightn't be very good here, but you might see it better when it's on screen. It's a green and a brown and a blue underneath. And I don't know whether you can see it, but there is no, I didn't put a pilot in, but it's all covered up. So that's the first kit I've got finished, and I've got some of these pictures on my Facebook page, which is Hangar Deck Modelling, and you'll get up my name, Steve. So that's that finished. And another kit that's nearly finished, but it just wants the markings put on, which is this, me 1/32 my Revell 1/32 Spitfire Mark II. This was for Clint Demand Modeller's big build, or forget about it, which finished in April, but I'm only just finishing now. I know Warren has just finished his, which was an ME109, an Edward kit, and he's done a really good job of it. Now this was all airbrushed as well, and it's actually got, I don't know if you can see it, I've got some photos of this on my Facebook page, but I'll put some photos on when it's completed. It's got a, oh god, what was it? It's got a wash on, which was a dark dirt from Ultimate Weathering, and that was the first time I ever did that, and that's worked out pretty well. But you can see it more on the bottom, streaks of dirt. A Gungy Spitfire. And it's also got a coat of enamel varnish, which is the first time. This is 3 firsts really: airbrush, washes and varnish. So hopefully the markings will go on better. And I'll do a couple of pictures and a proper review when all the markings are on. I'll probably start doing them at the weekend. I'm hoping to get it finished so I can take it to my model club on Monday. And that's been a great kit to build. Just a bit fit issues round at the wing roots there, but everything else went together fine. And it's, well, you can't, I tried the pre-shading, but it never worked, so I'll have to try that a bit more. That's one for the practice bin, I think. But that's turned out okay. I'm quite pleased with that. I've got models all over the place here. And another one I've done, which is a side kit, which is ready for spraying. It's been primed, which is this, which is an Airfix 1/72nd scale Hawker Sea Hawk. I think it's an FGA-6 carrier aircraft, which is my favourite, obviously. And I'm doing these in the markings of number 804 Naval Air Squadron that flew from HMS Albion at the time of the Suez Crisis in 1956. And that's went together. It's a simple kit, really. There's nothing to it. A bit of fit issues around the tailplane and the canopy, but apart from that, no problem. Basic Airfix kit. And another side project I've got going, which is this, which is a Supermarine Seafire FR-47. Now that's due to get the windscreen put on, and after that I can prime it, and that'll be up for spraying, with the Seahawk and the Sea Fury having the same colours underneath and the top. I'll do them together. It'll save a bit of time. And I'm doing that one in the markings of number 800 Naval Air Squadron, which flew from HMS Triumph at the beginning of the Korean War. And there's the underside of it. Now this would have been old tooling, but it's old tooling, but it's new, as like early to middle 90s. I think that's when it come out. But that went together fine. There was not much problem with that. Right, what else have I got? Ah, my bow fighter. This is my Frog bow fighter, what I'm making in the markings of an Australian Air Force version around New Guinea. Now the green is on, but it's underneath all this, and that is like a, well, it's really a desert yellow, but by the camouflage scheme that I got out of, I think it was an aeroplane magazine, it looks the part for a Far Eastern version in New Guinea. Now I ran out of I got the front, the big wings done, the main wings, but the tailplane I ran out of paint, so I had to get some more, and I've never finished it off, so I'll do it again. It needs another coat anyway. And obviously the underside is covered up. That's a sky. It's a, well, it's a beige green. I'll get that sorted out. It's just a side project. No rush for that. Now what else have I got? Ah, this is for Frankie Day's British Bomber Group build. And I'm doing the Vickers Wellington. And this is primed, ready to be painted with its coat of black, because it's mainly black overall, except for the camouflage on the wings and along the top of the fuselage. Now this is an old Airfix kit, and it shows gaps along there which I had to fill in. I'll have to sand them down a bit more because you can see the gaps there, and along the wing roots. It was the underside that was the most, where the bomb bay is, but you've got to have the bomb bay open, so I've just left it as it is, and I've masked all the canopy, so that's just ready for painting the black. And that's that. Right, what else have I got on? Where is it? I don't know where it is. It's about somewhere. It was the motorcycle sidecar for Russell Gosling and Hamilton Barkis's out of your comfort zone group build, but I don't know where I've put it. Oh, where is it? I hope I haven't lost it. Anyway, that's finished, but I'm going to make a little diorama for it. Hold on a minute, see if I can find it. I'll not be 2 seconds. It's about somewhere. I don't know where it is. I'll find it though. Right. So that's all my kits. That's on. Now we'll go on to the acquisitions that I got at the... It was at the Norlin Model Show. I'm a bit... which is planned and organised and set up by the model club that I belong to, and I was there on Saturday helping to set up all the tables because it's in like a leisure centre, and I was there on Sunday when it was in full swing, and it was a good show. It turned out really well. Plenty of traders and plenty of groups on the show. I missed the prize given because I was doing my turn on the table at the cash desk. So I never seen people they got prizes. One lad in our club, he did an Australian bullfighter. I'll see if he won anything when I go to the club again on Monday. The kits I got a canny bit like this, which these three here, the first three, I bought them on Saturday when the guys were setting up the traders because we're giving them a hand. This, which is the Revel 1 720 Graf Zeppelin, the German aircraft carrier. Now this will be quite an interesting kit to build because there's an interesting history behind it. When I do a box review I'll give you a history of it, but I know that it never went into service obviously, because that would have been one prime target if it had went into service. But there was inter rivalry between the Luftwaffe and the Kriegsmarine about who should operate the aircraft. Goering wanted the Luftwaffe to operate it, but Erich Raeder, who was the head of the Navy, wanted the Navy to have it. So that was one sticking point, but it was the construction of it. But I'll go into it when I eventually get round to building it. But that'll be an interesting kit. I'm quite looking forward to that because I like ships, doing ships, and it's an aircraft carrier. And this one, I've been after one of these for a while, which is a short Sunderland, and this was a bargain for 10 quid. Now I want one of these because I've got two Sunderlands over there built. I mean, they're about 35 years old, and I converted them. One of them's a short Hythe that was operated by Boac just after the Second World War. The turrets were faired over, and obviously the windows were in different places. I forget how many passengers it carried. And the second one I've did, which was a conversion of the Sunderland for civil use, a short Sandringham. It had like the bow was curved there, and it was pointed at the end where the turrets were. And I've got one of them. I did it in the markings of an Australian airline, but I fancy doing it again. Obviously, now that I've got a bit more, my skills are a bit better. Hopefully make a better job of it, because I did the other two. They went first as RAF versions, and I sanded all the paint off, and there's just no detail at all. And they're a bit rough. I might show them at a later date, but they're very rough because they're old kits. But I fancy doing that. I'll get round to doing that. The third one I got on the Saturday, which was this, an Airfix Douglas Devastator. Colourful pre-war markings. Obviously, by the time the Second World War started, it was obsolete. And at the Battle of Midway, I think it was VT8, was just totally decimated. And one bloke, Ensign George Gear, who was a pilot, he witnessed the destruction of the 3 Japanese aircraft carriers, but the whole squadron was just totally devastated. Devastator. They were just decimated, shot down, and I think there was only him that was survived. All the rest were killed because it had a 3-man crew, I think. So that'll be interesting. I can hear my cat moan. So then there's the 3 that I got on the Saturday, and on the Sunday I bought this, which was Chinese new fighter. This was a bargain for £6. Now there's a bill inside, because when the guy obviously bought it, I think it was £15. Something different. It very much resembles an F-16, but this was made middle to late 80s, I think. But that'll be an interesting kit to build, and it's got would have been a trumpeter. It's got the Air Force and the Navy version inside, but the paint callouts, there's no paint, so I'll have to go online to find out what the trumpeter paints correspond are. But I fancy doing the Navy one because China's developing naval air power now. But that'll be an interesting kit, that. And this one, which I made one of these when I was a kid, not a 48 scale one, which is a Revell P38J Lightning, and you get a choice of 3 versions. There's a bomber, a night fighter, and a fighter, and the fighter is in the markings of Major Richard W. Bong, weird name, and he was the highest scoring American fighter ace in the Second World War. 40 victories I think he got, and that's obviously, he named his plane Marge. No, Madge was named after his wife. So that'll be an interesting kit to build, that. Never built one of them for years. And these is just a couple of small ones I got. I picked that up. Airfix Supermarine Spitfire Mark 9 in the markings of Johnny Johnson. And this is a very basic kit, this. I think it'll take us about half a day to put it together. Canadian maple leaf there. And this one, which is another, never got off the drawing board, a Focke-Wulf TA-183, I think it's Hickabine. Now if you look at that, it's actually got it in there. It influenced the MiG-15 because they look very similar. Obviously I think the plans were captured by the Russians at the end of the war. German experimental jet fighter, that'll be an interesting one to make. Now there's a lad in our model club, all he builds is, never got off the drawing board, it's like Luftwaffe 46 German kits, and he had a show at the model show of the kits with these built, and some of them are fantastic. In fact they're all fantastic, but the designs for them, out of this world. It's amazing to think how far German technology was. We're in front of anything we had. So that'll be an interesting one. And a biplane one, because I built an Albatross last year I think, and I enjoyed doing it. It was an easy kit. And I've seen this, which is a Fokker D7. Interesting camouflage scheme. Because I watched a film, it was on Friday, because my wife and daughter went to Manchester to see a group and I had the house to myself. I could watch what I wanted. I watched Flyboys, which was about the Lafayette Escadrille. Now some people have panned the film, but I thought it was okay. It was a bit corny in parts, but the flying sequences were good, and I thought it was like, I'll read film anyway. Biplanes there. So that'll be an interesting one to build. And something else I picked up, which is a sticker of an American aircraft carrier deck. Interesting to, if you ever, well I will, because I've got loads of carrier aircraft, put it on a diorama. Now you've got the aircraft carrier, I've got the address for the bloke that sold it. So that would be interesting. And I've picked up something else, because I've actually got an order a Fairey Gannet Airborne Early 1 and 3 HMS Ark Royal flight deck, and that's bendy cardboard, so that'll be good. That. And most of the other things I picked up were Tamiya paints, some clippers, some Mr. What was it? Tamiya extra thin cement, clippers, and I think that was it. But altogether it was a good show and I enjoyed it. So that's my haul of kits that I've got going, me acquisitions, and that's it for me tonight. So have fun, keep modelling, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.